So my name's Fred, K7FMB. I got into this whole mesh universe in a long circuitous route. But what I want to talk to you about today is kind of, I came from the instrumentation world, radio and data telemetry. And so I would still do, put sensors, environmental sensors out in fields, pastures, streams, air quality kinds of things. And the whole idea was to try and take temperature information, sensor information, pull it back to some central location so you can analyze what the heck was going on. And there's a whole bunch of ways of doing that. And now that I'm also involved in amateur radio, I thought, well, this is an interesting overlay of what's going on. So what I want to do is go over mesh networking kind of from an amateur radio perspective, at least from mine. I'm happy to have other viewpoints, other opinions as well. We're all familiar with voice, HF, repeaters, and that sort of thing. But what I want to do is I want to talk about mesh technology in general. So next slide, please. There it is. So I kind of came to this particular part, my involvement in cars, working through, we'll call it a family emergency plan. I've got a couple of sons that live over in McCormick Woods. We got some family over in Renton. We're out at the end of the earth, what feels like the end of the earth, on the end of the Kitsap Peninsula by Hood Canal at Tahuya. And we routinely lose cell phone service, routinely. In fact, I was completely off the air when the fiber went down this last week. So in the case of the emergency, the big one, whatever that big one happens to be, how is it that my family can communicate? So that was kind of the premise behind why I got into this, this particular one. Can we still exchange text messages or some sort of digital communication when the phones are off the air? And so this particular system is based on a radio technology. We're going to call that LoRa. Go ahead and hit the next slide. And as amateur radio operators, we're already thinking in terms of, well, if the text message or if the cell phone goes down, I've got my radio. Well, we do. We have a lot of stuff we can do with the radio. We've got FM for voice. We've got long distance, if you will, messaging, HF, APRS for position reporting. We've all been involved in our WinLink activities lately, so that's a new universe for me in terms of getting messages around. We've historically been, as amateur radio operators, adding capabilities to the bag, if you will. And now we're bringing up 220, right? So we're just adding more technology. None of what I'm talking about today replaces anything that's up here, but it's going to augment it, and hopefully we'll show you how that happens. At the end of the day, it's all based on the underlying radio technology. So, next slide. We're familiar with Bluetooth. Like Bluetooth, they also refer to that sort of like a local or a personal area network. The range on that, 10 to 100 feet, depending on how good your Spotify account is. And we've got Wi-Fi, right? Local area, sort of wide area network. I don't know, we were out in the middle of the lake. We had some decent Wi-Fi out there, but you get a little more than, I think, 1,000 feet's a little bit of a stretch. Even over water, clear line of sight, it still gets rough out there. LoRa was specifically designed for long distance and extremely low power consumption. This right here is a set of, 7 LoRa radios right there. Each of these little doodahs is a LoRa radio. And so that little guy there works on extremely low power. You can take a AA battery and run one of these sensors for 12 months, right? Depending, of course, what it's doing. The other thing about it is that it's really got a low noise floor, minus 140 dB. This thing can communicate when other technologies can't. And so we'll be in a field where there's not any interference, or we'll be in a downtown situation. I've got installation in Florida right now under a freeway overpass with all sorts of noise on it, and these guys can still talk to each other. The frequency, by the way, this thing sits at about, in the US, 915 megahertz, so it's in the ISM band. For you technical folks, what is it, Industrial, Scientific, and Medical band, 868 megahertz in Europe, and you also see some stuff at 433 megahertz, more around RFID frequencies. So again, specifically engineered for long-range, low-power digital communications. Next slide, please. So what's in that mesh network? I don't mean to be pedantic about it, but basically, in our radio world, I queue up my radio and I can talk simplex. I'm basically broadcasting, right? Yeah, I can queue up, I can talk to the repeater, and now the repeater is broadcasting. In the case of a mesh network, I can talk, Ben can pick it up, and if I'm actually talking over there to Brad, and I can't necessarily talk to Brad, Ben could actually talk to Brad. In fact, maybe Bryn can't get there either, but this gentleman here, I don't know your name, but Ed can talk to Ben, and Ben can talk to Brad. All of a sudden, the more people that are in the room, the more possible paths there are to get a piece of information from one place to another. And it isn't like telephone, where by the time it gets over there, you don't recognize what was originally said. It's that same message being passed around in the mesh network. Now, the important part there is that the mesh grows, coverage improves. And one of the things I'm suffering with right now at the end of the Kitsap Peninsula is there's really no density. And so that does become a problem. Next slide, please. So in the world of this mesh networking thing, again, this technology's kind of evolved. When we were building the original, this is a sensor board. Right there is one of those little radios that I'm talking about. So this board is sort of mom, and all the devices would talk to this. That was our original architecture. But what's happening now is somebody decided, well, let's let all these guys talk to each other and pass the information along. Well, with that comes a couple different protocols. Meshtastic, you probably heard of Meshtastic. In fact, you were just talking about Meshtastic. Meshtastic is more of this peer-to-peer conversation that I just described. MeshCore is an alternative protocol based on the same radios, same underlying technology, same frequencies, just a different protocol sitting on top of it. MeshCore tries to be a little more organized in that you have this thing called a companion. We're going to go through vocabulary a little bit later. You have this is my personal device, and that personal device then, Ben's got one there too, talks to a repeater structure. There happens to be a repeater right behind Phil, and you're good. You're more than 20 centimeters away from that, so you're not going to get radiated. And it's only a quarter of a watt. And so the orchestration, if you will, of the message is a little more organized in MeshCore. Not to say one is better than the other, or one's the right way. They were both built for different reasons. Both protocols are different reasons, and they have kind of fundamentally different goals in mind, okay? So let's go to the next slide. So MeshCore is, we'll call it very lightweight. It doesn't spend a lot of time yammering with other people to find out who's there. Meshtastic, for example, is peer-to-peer, and Ben's talking to Ed, Ed's talking to Brad, and all that kind of things going on, but there's a lot of beacons going back and forth to say who's next to me, who's going to talk, and that kind of thing. So MeshCore is very lightweight. Meshtastic's been around longer, and so you'll hear arguments that this is one of the things you want to start a fight in amateur radio. Pick a radio and say it's the best. We want to start a fight in mesh technology. Say you're MeshCore, Meshtastic. That'll start the online bulletin boards arguing with each other. The important thing to know out of all of this stuff up here is that MeshCore devices, even though they're both based off the radio, same technology, they cannot talk to each other. So if you have a Meshtastic device, you cannot talk to a MeshCore device, even though they play the same in between the two. So one of the things I too want to mention, Meshtastic currently has a larger global footprint, but MeshCore is predominantly deployed in the Pacific Northwest. So this is actually a map. You can go up to Meshtastic, Google Meshtastic map, and it will tell you the nodes that it knows of in, you can see this is our area right here, okay? Go to the next slide. That's MeshCore. And so my repeater's not on there, but it'll be on the next slide. So just look at the density. Remember I said earlier that the density is going to play a significant role in whether this thing actually can communicate to another peer. Go ahead. So there I am. I'm the red dot down there on the lower left, and you can see that there's not a lot of us down there. There'll be one more soon. But anyway, I'm actually, and we talked earlier, one of the earlier slides talked about its long distance. That is Tiger Mountain on the right-hand side. And my little 1-watt device can talk directly to Tiger Mountain. Depending on the day, I can talk directly, hit the space bar with it, please. I can talk directly to the KCARC MeshCore repeater as well. And so one of the things about this is that it is not sort of, we'll call it future fantasy. We actually have infrastructure right now going with MeshCore in the neighborhood. Right? The propagation, I still notice, not here I've had a lot of experience with this, but I'm not an expert in it by any stretch of the imagination. It still has the same limitations that the physics of HF, the physics of RF have. There are days I can see Tiger Mountain perfectly fine. There are days I can't seem to talk to my garage. So it is dependent on everything else. Okay, next slide. Here's the vocabulary. So I mentioned this is a node. Anything that's a node. We're going to call these anything that's a participant in the ecosystem. We're calling a node. This happens to be a companion. Now, there's a whole bunch of different ones of these, and I'll have a slide where we can talk about them specifically. But each of them's got different features, right? This guy, he's got a great battery to him. He's got a great display, which I find pretty much useless. I can actually charge my cell phone with this, and it stays alive for a long time. I kind of like it from that perspective. But this one doesn't have GPS. So if I'm looking for a device that's going to participate and, in an emergency situation, tell somebody where I'm at, this device won't work for you. This device, Ben's got one right there as well, just the opposite. It does have GPS in it, but its battery isn't great, all right? It's nice. It doesn't have the display, so we're not wasting battery power on a display. But all of these require my cell phone to be involved. This is talking Bluetooth to this, and the user interface is here on the phone, not her. Whereas this guy here, also a companion device, he's got his own keyboard, and he also does have GPS, and his battery's okay. And my personal opinion, he's not very reliable, but that's a different issue altogether. So you've got everything there from a companion. You've got a whole broad range of companions. A repeater is just that. It's like a repeater. You guys understand the word repeater. That guy back there is a MeshCore repeater. He's using this same radio, the same chip that's in these guys, but his purpose in life is to listen and say it again, right? Repeat stuff that's going on. A room server is like a bulletin board. We actually have a demo today of a room server. Does anybody else have a MeshCore device here today? Oh, you do. Excellent. I'm going to pick you. So a room server is like a bulletin board system. and I can send a message into the room, and it will persist there. And when you log into that room, then you too can get that message. And we can exchange messages through that room, all right? So that's a function, in most cases, of a repeater, but it's also, it can be a specific node on this. All right. An antenna. Who knows what an antenna is? Never mind. And then BLE, I think everybody knows what Bluetooth is, but the importance about Bluetooth in this situation is that Bluetooth is going to be the radio communication between your companion and your user interface.
Is your elevation a factor in this?
Yes.
Okay.
Just like, I mean, all the physics of RF still play. But again, it's 900 megahertz, which, you know, we all had pagers. Well, some of us had pagers so many moons ago, right? And the pager could do pretty good getting into the basement of some corporate buildings where, you know, cell phones are useless down there. So it's in a good frequency band for its work. Next slide, please. Ben actually gave me this, and I know it's going to be impossible to read, but I thought this was a really good slide from the perspective, if you look at where MeshCore might fit into an ecosystem of our radio universe, right? So you have FRS, the family radio system. I actually use that around our property. We have a 2-acre property, and my wife will send me a text message, and I won't read text messages, but she'll fire up the little handheld radio and say, "Fred, where are you?" And I can hear that because I've got that in my pocket, right? But get outside of, you know, a quarter mile on a good day, and FRS is no good. So now we go to GMRS. GMRS is nice because it doesn't have the licensing requirements that ham radio has, but you can get some good distance out of it, right? A 50-watt radio or 20-watt radio still do pretty good. And so this refers to that sort of as a neighborhood or a community communication system. Mesh it fits in there. Hit the space bar for me. Actually, it didn't even do that. Yeah, there you go. Mesh and amateur sit in a more regional place, all right? The way I'm relying on Mesh in my family situation is that, hey, look, if the phones are down, pull up your Mesh, send a note to my room server and say, you know, we're okay, or we're in transit heading to XYZ, and here's our ETA. That'll get to the room server, and whether or not they have communication or the opportunity to communicate later on, that message is now on a place that the rest of the family can get at it, right? Unfortunately, nobody else in my family is a ham, so I can call you, but you probably don't have a cell phone at this point in time either when this is all being executed.
But we still carrier safe.
Yes, thank you. All right. So the interesting thing, I think, in the CARS group, we're talking about the Cascadia event, or the big earthquake event, right? This fits in that layer. It's not replacing anything that we've come to know and love in amateur radio, and of course, amateur radio probably is going to be a very prominent part. There's not a ton of infrastructure MeshCore-wise across all the county. In fact, we were having that discussion at breakfast this morning, and that I don't think, honestly, myself, MeshCore is not mature enough right now to rely on it 100% for emergency communication, but it is part of the layer. And each of my kids have a GMRS radio, and each of them have actually one of these guys. The ladies have one of the pretty ones. So that's kind of how I'm outfitting them in this world, right? I've talked about lots of devices. Go ahead, next page. I've already talked about lots of devices. Everything from the repeater. Now you can buy this guy here. Like I said, he came as a kit. He was about $49. This guy, I think, wasn't he about 40?
It was like $40.
$40, you know. This guy, he has a keyboard. He was probably about 45 bucks. So everybody's, about the same in that price point. I think this guy was like 60 bucks because he's got a big battery, but functionally they all are pretty much equal as long as they got a GPS chip in them. I showed off this is the actual chip itself. If you want to do a breadboard. This is, anybody like Raspberry Pi? Anybody a Raspberry Pi in the world? There you go. So this is called a hat. This plugs into the top of the Raspberry Pi, and that's actually what's running over there. And the cool thing about that now is now you've got a whole computer system underneath the hood, and you can do things like what we call bots and messaging. And I could actually send, in fact, what we do, the sensor will send a text message in effect to the computer, and the computer will write that into the database. And now I've got a long-term graphing of what's going on in the field. In this particular case, that Raspberry Pi adds a whole bunch of other technology. You can, believe me, you can blow it. So this is really, this is where things get dangerous for the amateur folks, because you can lose all sorts of days. Next slide, please. As far as it looks on your phone, we don't have the ability here to cast phones to the display, so I just took some screenshots of my Android app. The app's called MeshCore. The Meshtastic app is the alternative, right? And it looks kind of like any other text messaging application, right? You've got, on the left, you've got the channels that you can listen to, which is like a Facebook group. You've got the text messages there. The one on the second from the left is, it's called a bot. For example, I can send to my device a message. I say WX space Seattle or 98101. And the computer goes out, does a lookup for the weather at that location, and fires me back a text message and tells me, oh, okay, yeah, that's the weather. That's the very simplistic things that bots can do. You can imagine how much other stuff they can do, right? Here is the contacts. So you've got things to listen to, people to talk to, and words to say. The one on the far right is that. These work on Apple. They work on your PC or your Mac, and of course they work on Android. So, go ahead and hit the next slide. Here's the risk. We're going to do a demo. So, you got your thing? All right. So, we're going to do it 2 different ways, just to prove the point. So, I'm gonna open up my MeshCore app here.
Bill,
and
what TV is this? Number 4?
What?
Is that number 4 for the TV?
TD, I'm lost.
Or the TV, is that room 4 TV?
This is DemoRoom.
No, or is that a Hisense? I'm going to try to cast.
Oh, I don't know. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Oh, there you go. Okay. Wow. Oh, cool.
We're diverting from the plan.
I love it. We had an expression: do a demo, lose a sale. So
It was not successful.
Oh, wait, I think
We tried, we
I
failed.
touched something before.
We tried again.
Oh, perfect. Okay,
Oh,
so
look at that.
all the way out and do a connect to the device.
Take a picture of that.
So this is needing a description, please.
Here in my house.
So Ben is casting his phone's app on the big
Yeah,
screen.
go ahead and do a disconnect up there, if you will.
Disconnect, that's the.
Top right 3 button.
So somebody has.
Oh, no, back up to the 3 button. Yeah, disconnect. Okay, now, so he loads up the MeshCore app. He hits the connect button. And what's going to happen there, go ahead and hit connect. And now we did Bluetooth. We did a Bluetooth scan. You guys are all familiar with how that all works. And we went out to look, and we found some devices. It found my device here, and it found his device there. So he's going to connect to his own device. And now what's happening is MeshCore is going out to see, all right, who can I see and who have I missed conversations with? DemoRoom happens to be a room server sitting right there. So the interesting thing about that, so we're going to take what we're going to do, DemoRoom, by the way, there is security on these. So you have either you can be as open publicly as you'd like to be, or you can be as private as you would like to be. So in this particular case, we've said the DemoRoom is a private room. The login is demo. And let's see if that will work.
Just going through the, I have it in the room.
All right, hold on, I'm not in the room yet, but there we go.
Stop $40.
Connect, that's what I like to bet this. There I am, I connect to my device. And now, you go ahead and log in?
You didn't tell me to.
Oh, go ahead. Waiting for device to connect. Sure. Now, I'm the one, good thing you're doing the demo because mine's not connecting. All right, so if you send a message, did you just say hi?
Yep.
Did you just receive hi?
I have not, but I have deliverance on the room server.
And so you've sent some messages. Go ahead, you can send.
Yeah, I sent.
Okay, you've sent some messages.
Mm-hmm. I see the test from K7FMB, and I said hello, I waved.
So, as you can tell, with all the technology right here, like right now, it's not even letting me connect to this guy. So, as a technology,
I got hi.
oh, you got hi. Okay, that was.
Oh, it's catching up. This is a test of stored messages. Yeah, it's catching up.
This is not Wi-Fi, so it is slow. You're not looking at, even, I don't know, 1200 baud here. It is, however, with no, with long distance and hardly any signal strength at all, you're going to get messages across. So that is the room server. There's some more stuff like channels. You can do direct messages. You could send just him a message. You can send a group a message. I subscribe to Kitsap County channels and also emergency channels. I was listening on my car and somebody fired off a message that there was I-5 northbound was closed at 218th because of a medical incident, right? So again, if we could repeat this demo by turning our phones into airplane mode, and everything would still work. This did not rely on the cell networks. It was all done through LoRa. LoRa is a good person. All right, next slide, please. Save your demo participants. Excellent work. Casting that. Perfect. And there's the the way I was able to share the room was with this QR code. We're going to upload this presentation, and so you could scan that QR code if you have a MeshCore, and you have the ability to talk to that room. That's also got the security, the secret the hash key, the secret codes back into it. Next slide, please. So I've included some MeshCore resources. MeshCore.io, that's pretty much straight up the best place to go if you want to learn about that. Its counterpart is Meshtastic, Meshtastic.org. Okay, try that. Down there. It's kind of fun to go to the maps, map.meshcore.io. And actually, if you want to just pull that up real quick, Bill, if you can. You should be able to click on that, right?
Maybe. Which one?
Map.meshcore.io. And launch the web browser.
And
Or is it control click or something?
well, it shows up on my screen.
Oh, it's the screen sharing gadget stuff. There you go.
There you go. And just zoom in on the northwest up there.
Ah,
Windows are killing Windows.
Click.
oh, that one.
There it is. You got a center mouse button, it'll roll in right there.
Not on my touchpad.
Okay.
Oh, hey, look at
Keep zooming.
that. Zoom, zoom.
Check out the pressing state of CBAC.
Yeah, so, yeah, there's a good population
Hey,
around
look.
that. And that
There's
is,
my repeater upstairs.
there you
It's
go.
not been seen in a while, but
Right.
I'm sure, yeah.
Anyway, take a look at those resources, and if you want to get into it, I'm happy to answer any questions I can. I can play with it at the hardware level, or we can play with it at the software level, or even at the computer level if you want to go to that point. But it's one of those things where it is all still radio, and definitely I think it's a layer, one of the we'll call it one of the layers in our multi-layered communication system.
so you're saying it's like an onion.
It's like an onion.
Yeah, it'll make you cry.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Did you say you're gonna download this onto the site?
Yeah, where's it going to go?
I'm going to make an article specific for this and put all the content so it's a web page. I like this. I'm excited. I'm going to take your PowerPoint and turn it into.
Okay. There, if you look at the notes section too, I pretty much put my bullet points in the notes. So once you get the PowerPoint, if you want, text me your email address and I will.
Hey, I think what I can also do is I got the PowerPoint PDF. We can
Yeah,
send it
yeah,
out as an
yeah.
email, so everyone can enjoy it and all its MeshCore goodness.
That'll be on our club website.
Yeah, it was emailed out to our
So when you get it, or when you're out in your field and not answering your phone, but you're getting messages, do you get, well, I'm using Apple for, and I'm not with this yet, but I'm using Apple and using Messengers or Messenger or whatever. So it gives me a notification and I have voiceover reading it.
This
That's a great
is
question.
just like any other notification that's going to come in on your phone. It comes in just like, in fact, if you have to silence it, depending on which features you turn on in your MeshCore app. You can listen to all the blathering that everybody's doing, and it comes in ding, 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 ding. And of course, just like on my Android, I pull down the top and hit the button or hit the link, and it'll tell me whatever that person is blathering. So it's just like that.
specifically to your application being visually impaired.
Yes.
How does the app interface with your reader, screen reader? I don't know.
It's again, it uses the operating system, so it's going to, whatever your OS has, whatever Apple has, it's going to mimic that.
We look forward to your report.
Yeah, really. All right, if no more questions, I'll leave this up here for a bit. You can examine, and thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Nope, it was all free. That's one thing I did not point out. Everything is free. Nothing, I mean, these aren't free, but you're not paying for the airwaves.